Going to be looking at the insane story of a peak manga, Dorohedoro manga review. This is by Rash Reviews. Now, I've heard great things about this as in terms of the anime. The anime art style was a little off for me when I had Netflix. I know I don't have Netflix anymore, so I haven't. When I get Netflix again, I do eventually want to watch this, but in terms of actually having seen, I have not seen it, but I'm really interested and curious about what this is about. So I think Rash Reviews will give us a good rundown. So let's get right into the video.
Reviewing the manga Dorohedoro. This manga actually has an enormous cult following behind it. People take Dorohedoro very seriously. And I don't blame them because there isn't a manga world that's anything like it. It's dark, gritty, over the top, and filled with style, with an amazing, highly detailed, scratchy art style to complement. Above all else, if there's anything that I could say about this manga, it's iconic, creative, and brimming with imagination. It knows what it wants to be and it doesn't care. And I guarantee you, you will see the craziest things in this manga, such as a roach wearing Jordans, a guy...
Bro, it's Asmongold. It's Asmongold. Asmongold is a main villain in this. I don't know if Asmongold wears Jordans, but we know he's the Roach King, and we know that he probably owns Jordans. He's got a lot of money, so...
running around with a turkey head and a girl dressed up as a shark. It's literally endless fun, with a somewhat compelling story that takes place during it. As for the premise, there are two worlds, the human world and the sorcerer world, that exist in Dorohedoro. With both of these worlds being separated, there's surely going to be a lot of conflict between the sorcerers and the regular humans. And for the most part, this is a background plot that becomes major later on in the story. But for the most part, everything is shrouded in mystery, with our main character, Kaneman, who cannot recollect his memory. Somebody cursed him with an uncurable lizard head that makes him immune to magic. And because of this, it is uncurable. And the only thing he has to go by in finding out who he really is are the cross-eye tattoos he has over his eyelids. So him and his newfound friend Nikaido go...
Bro got cross-eye tattoos, and that's his whole fucking thing. How did he even find out that he had the tattoos? Did he like blink at somebody and they're like, holy shit, you got him? Or did he like look in the mirror and go like this, like... oh shit, my dude! Look at that nipple titty. I got tattoos on my eyeballs. Well, that might be a fucking cluey wooey right there. I watched Memento by Christopher Nolan.
On a sorcerer hunt. And this simple sorcerer hunt that they go on would change the world around them entirely. Things just happen in this manga, but it all builds up to one bigger picture. But I'd say easily the best part about this story would be the characters. Kaneman, Nikaido, Shin, Noi, and Ibisu, all of them. I can't stress this enough. It feels like this manga does not have a single bad character. I've never read a manga where every single character was enjoyable and interesting to read about. Kaneman's design, his lizard head, and his love for gyoza, followed by his identity crisis, alongside his simple-mindedness and gung-ho attitude, easily made him my favorite character. He is multiple characters in one. And if you read this manga, you know what I'm talking about. And his partner, Nikaido. She would be just as mysterious as Kaneman and have one of the strongest magics in the entire series. At one moment, she'd be cool, calm, and collected. But if you piss her off, it is over. The way she would fight was just so satisfying. Flipping around and kicking you so hard that your eye would fall out.
Dude, let's go, dude. I want to kick. I want to have like kicks like that. My kicks are like cringe and lame, and when I kick somebody, it's basically like I'm tickling their nipples, and nobody wants to feel like they just get a little tip. They're like, ew, ew, my nipple tickle, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I was trying to fucking take your head off of your shoulders, not tickle your nipples.
Out of your head. The agile movements with such power made her fights hit that much different. And from the moment Shin and Noi appear, the rivals to both Kaneman and Nikaido, they complemented the protagonists perfectly. To show you how insane this world is, once every year there's a special holiday where zombies would rise from the ground because of all of the magical distortions that the sorcerers
Bro, there's too much magical jizz in the air. Because of the magical jizz, we have ourselves an issue. The issue is, zombies. Motherfucking zombies coming out of the ground trying to touch you in the butts. Have you ever been touched in the butts? Well, it's trying to touch you in the butts here. It's butting your fifis in your mouth.
would create, because every time they use their magic, they create a black mist. This black mist would form in the atmosphere and practically ruin the human world, the whole. On this holiday, you would slay zombies, collect their plates, and cash them in at vendors to get cool items. Noi and Shin were absolutely intimidating. When Nikaido would fight Noi, despite her amazing speed and strength, it would all get invalidated because Noi's strength was that much stronger than Nikaido's, easily breaking her arm whenever she'd block. Kaneman and Shin would both be extremely skilled with weaponry, and their rage and bloodlust would give them strength that they would need in battle, but Shin's skills and bloodlust would quite easily eclipse Kaneman's. These four characters alongside the supporting cast, the side characters.
I mean, these guys are sick as fuck looking. I mean, my face is covering one of the douchebags right now. Let me actually fixie wixie this. I'm covering his hair, dude. Look how like just based this dude's hair is. Again, dude, the art style and how like everything in this looks so amazing. I honestly, the biggest problem for me with the anime is it's CGI slop, and I really am disappointed because I think that they could have done so much more than the CGI bullshit.
There's not a single bad one. And Q Hayashida just keeps making good character after good character after good character. Most of them would have backstories and even history with other side characters, making everyone interconnected. And as the story plays out, you'd see these connections happen. Like Dr. Kasukabe being an ally to both Kaneman and Nikaido, but despite this, when Shin was younger, Dr. Kasukabe would have saved his life. Saved the life of a major villain, yet he'd be an ally to the main characters, which would create interesting interactions between everyone that would flip the entire thing on its head. Like Shin turning a blind eye on Kusakabe and lets him escape En's lair. You basically see how all of these characters are interconnected alongside their problems, creating a giant butterfly effect that makes up the entire plot. A little side character could play a giant role in the mystery of Kaneman's identity being lost. All of the fun in the story might seem mindless sometimes, but it all adds up into something. For the most part, it feels like the characters are just living, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Because how they live in this world is the most interesting thing about this manga. Not only do the characters affect it, but so do the powers. Dorohedoro's power system would range from a variety of different things, but for the most part, the sorcerers use black smoke, or in this case, sorcery.
Your black smoke. Well, they call it sorcery. What it really is poop particles. They're firing poop particles at each other, boys. They're pulling their little gross fingers out, and they're like, "Get him, boys!" And then diarrhea shoots out of their hands, and just like gives them like diarrhea mouth.
Everyone's black smoke can do something different. Shin's black smoke cuts people up. En's turns people into mushrooms. Your smoke is practically personalized for you, and you'll have your own personal ability. And
bro, mine would just be like I like breathe on somebody and I give them I give them like Crohn's disease or something. I like breathe on them and it's like something like I give them gonorrhea. Something easily curable, but still like cringe. Or like, why does everybody have gonorrhea? King Jiffy just keeps breathing on their asses.
Every time they use these powers, weird things would happen to the human world, like that example with the zombies earlier. The world building is absolutely insane. With two worlds existing, we get to see two societies, the human world and the sorcerer world, how they affect each other, and we get interesting design and artistic choices from both worlds. Take a shot every time I say world. Now I feel like this is a good moment to talk about the plot and writing style. There's a lot of things that I've just praised about it, but that doesn't mean it's all hunky-dory from here on out. Now with the character goals being relatively simple, find Kaneman's identity, this and that, and while they're doing these things...
I also like the kind of a little bit of a contrasting art style between some of the characters. I think it makes for a... Could you fix that? It makes for a pretty interesting dynamic with it's not really dynamic. I don't think it's the right word, but I think that it's the contrast just makes it just so much more appealing. Like you see this like weird, creepy gas mask looking style, and then somebody who looks like they're straight out of like Hunter x Hunter. The shit fucking like gets me in the ball sack, bro. I really like it.
More of the plot unfolds. That keeps the reader engaged and intrigued, but at times it can feel like the plot is constantly changing and can overall destroy the entire story. At the beginning, we get hooked along to Shin, Noi, and En being the main villains, and this is great because they're good at being villains. There is a huge turning point in the story where En practically wants to kidnap Nikaido and make her his wife.
Bro. They got a Princess Leia here, bro. We got some kinky fan service going on, bro. I'm guessing she's above the age of like 5, though. Hopefully, I don't know, dude. With anime, that's one of the worst things about anime is like you'll see something and you're like, she's probably 12. I'm gonna turn this show off.
She was
like that's like anybody who like unironically like okay not unironically like anybody who like watched all of Seven Deadly Sins and can walk away saying that's a good anime. You need to be like questioning their hard drive and you need to be like curious about what's going on there. I'm not gonna lie, dude. That was like one of the most sus shows I've ever seen in my life.
Already an extremely powerful character, so when she turns on Cayman and he's all alone and has to fight Nikaido, Shin, Noi, and En all by himself, it gave an interesting sense of hopelessness, a real high-stakes threat in the story. But through this hopelessness, there would be little moments where Nikaido would snap out of her hypnotization and slowly outsmart En, or Cayman would slowly get closer and closer to saving her. This is in the beginning of the story, and unfortunately, this would be the best part of the plot. This would be the moment the stakes would be at the highest point. But as you continue to read it, it doesn't really get better than that. And that was extremely disappointing. It was very character driven and you were already connected with the characters at this point, but it never really gets taken full advantage of. Because for the most part, this conflict literally becomes forgotten. No real good or satisfying conclusion to it. And that would be the problem with this manga. En would be such a good villain, but he never gets to reach his fullest potential because he immediately gets replaced with a lackluster villain. And
that's unfortunate, dude. I hate when you underutilize potential of something. When you have like the possibility of making something like absolutely dope, because I've heard this be like kind of put up there with like, oh, if you like Berserk, you're gonna love this and stuff like that. And it's like, if you can't hit those fucking like absolute peak moments like Berserk has it all. It has the perfect villain, it has great character writing, it has everything. And then I hear oh well, if you like that, you're gonna like this. And I watch this and it just kind of like I've only watched like the first couple of episodes of this. I didn't like the animation style. And I just kind of see this as another missed opportunity and kind of like where there's so many times where I'm suggested something because I liked Berserk, especially from like Hulu or I look it up on Google, and it's just like they misunderstand people who like Berserk as people just like hyper violent anime. I think that I want something that has the depth and kind of poetic nature of Berserk. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the goriest thing in the world.
That really doesn't do much outside of just highlight the discrimination between the sorcerers and the regular humans. Now, as you keep reading, there are still interesting moments like discovering who Cayman was, his real identity, and there are even really hype ones. The psychological moments in this manga were absolutely amazing, and some of the best I've seen. The character crash outs with Cayman. These character-focused and driven moments are the best part. But again, just like the main villain.
Well, this happens a lot. There's a lot of media out there that goes on the idea of they write incredible characters and the story itself is just kind of mid.
These characters get shafted for new ones. There's constantly new characters being added, and they are good, but it feels like it would have been better if she would have just continued to build on the ones that we already grown attached to, and that were. This
was the problem with Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter kept adding and removing characters constantly, and then would throw them back in randomly, and it happened enough to where I remember they added somebody in before the Chimera Ant arc, and I'd forgotten what their importance was in the earlier seasons, and when they died, it didn't have any lasting impact because I didn't give a shit about them. I didn't care because I didn't know who the fuck they were. And then I was like, oh yeah, they were the one that schmiggled up on his fishing pole and like sucked the tip, right? He sucked the tip really nicely. And so I was like, okay, that's why he's important. So that's why I should care that he died. But I didn't have the, like, that's why I would say that, that creator, the guy who created Hunter x Hunter, I was like, Yo Yo Hakusho better because I think that it stayed truer to its like character lineup from the beginning.
Were already established because it feels like we don't get to know them as well as we should have. Just like with N as a villain, I feel like we didn't get enough of him, and he got shafted for a diet version of him. It sucks because it feels like he already had a perfect fit in the plot just for another villain to replace him, not do much, and do almost the exact same thing that he was already doing. Was this manga still fun to read? Yes, but it wasn't very fulfilling. It's hard to say whether or not it felt like a waste of time because it was that enjoyable, but it doesn't go anywhere. This is a matter of where the journey was much better than the destination. Now, some people might like the journey and not care about the destination, but if the destination does matter to you as a reader, like it does for me, that might be a huge...
Yeah, that could be a huge turnoff for me too. I do like good character work. I do like intriguing character arcs and stuff. But when you like squander like a really good plot, I think that it is a huge miss. And again, I use Yo Yo Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter always for an example of this. The difference between like Yo-Yo and Hunter x Hunter is like Yo-Yo from beginning to end has like a running plot, and it does have its like biggest antagonist during the entire like what is it, like fight competition arc. During the tournament arc, it has its best and most compelling antagonist, but I do think it builds to that in a really incredible way. And there's a lot of stuff even before that where it's like setting kind of the groundwork, kind of having some tropes where it's like, this guy's an enemy now, but he'll become a friend later. You guys have this thing that you can bounce off of each other, kind of like that Dragon Ball dynamic, and then it gets into the entire tournament arc that's just so cool. It builds perfectly to make him this perfect antagonist with the perfect send off. Now it does get a little whack after that, but the problem is when I look at Hunter x Hunter, you have a lot more arguments over what's the best arc, and it's not people talking about the show as a whole. It's like, oh, well, the show as a whole is good, but it's really good because of this arc, or it's really good because of this arc. And I look at that, and I'm like, well, I mean, the problem is it's so disjointed between each of these arcs. It's just kind of fucking shit happening, and him just living through it. And that was my problem with Hunter x Hunter. And I really like it. I'm not saying that it's a bad show. It's not like Naruto, where it's fucking garbage. It's really an interesting show to watch. I just don't think that it did the entire full-reaching, fully encompassing plot the way it should have done.
Problem for you when it comes to this manga. It genuinely feels like Q Hayashida got tired of making it and wanted to move on to her next story, and that's very unfortunate because Dorohedoro had so much potential. Again, there are epic moments, but at the end of the day, with the overall plot, it doesn't feel satisfying. Like, with N wanting to marry Nikaido, again, it gets shafted like an afterthought, like N just kind of forgot about it. I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens because of spoiler reasons, but it's just like, why did we handle this conflict in this way? Even at the very end of the manga, there are two characters that had some history with each other. Kaneman and some other guy, I'm not going to say who it was, but this stupid cliffhanger thing that we get, just why? I really can't stress how unfulfilling it is because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, everything goes back to normal. We are all returning to our normal lives, but it wasn't handled in a very good way. Like, look at this. The author even has to explain it. Things we learned in Dorohedoro 23. The whole is at peace, sorcerer still exists, Holy's been clean, Kaneman and Nikaido are best friends forever. Things we learned from Dorohedoro. Everything goes back to chaos. Now, I've looked at a lot of entertainment and read a lot of manga, but a genuine question is, what the fuck does that even mean? There are still conflicts that are going to happen in your life and you just live through them? That wasn't a very good, accurate representation or interesting one that really makes this narrative compelling in any way, shape, or form.
So it does look like she's working on something new now. I did pull up her Wikipedia. She's working on Die Dark. Die Dark is her next one. Now, I don't know if this is any good. This started in 2019. It looks like she went and she raises aliens and then okay, so this kind of looks like it's going off of the same idea as something like a Dorohedoro. But it does look like she's just kind of gone to a complete different different fucking a manga, and she might be way more interested in this idea. And this kind of happens sometimes all the time, where an artist will find something and they'll realize the mistakes they made with their last work and really want to like build and do something better with something else, and they're just kind of done with the last one. They've done what they wanted to. They've seen the mistakes. They're like, okay, I need to move on. I can't like fix this. I'm just gonna like end it the best I can, and I'm gonna move on to something I'm a little more passionate about with a little more thought behind it. And that might be what Dia Dark is doing. I don't know much about Dia Dark. You'll have to let me know down in the comments below. But that was my little side quest. I went on a little side quest. Wooey wooey.
Plenty of mangas out there that do have this cliffhanger-esque ending. Literally most shonen like Dragon Ball, Toriko, The Adventure Never Stops, this and that mumbo jumbo. But at least those were still satisfying at the end of the manga. With this, it just kind of feels like you waste your time reading it. It feels like a slap in the face. And that's why I'm hesitant to even read her newest series. I don't want to invest my time in something and then just get disappointed. Because the interesting plot and characters that the story had got thrown to the side for even worse narrative and worse characters. Why was the end point of the story a diet version of what you were already giving us? I did not want Diet Coke. Why did you give me Diet Coke? And that would be why I have such a love-hate relationship with this manga, because everything was perfect. Everything was so good, and it got you so invested. But everything falls off and still retains some form of entertainment value in the weirdest way possible. It feels like her writing style bit her in the ass in the end. And I know I cannot be alone on feeling this. It's so weird because I see so many people praise this manga, but they never address these issues that occur within it. I cannot be the only one who felt this way while reading it. I see nobody talk about it. That's why I question if people even finish Dorohedoro. Do they just read it and never get around to finishing it? Because absolutely nobody talks about the latter half. But maybe that's for good reason. So when it comes to recommending this...
No, yeah, basically what I'm hearing is Dorohedoro fucking jumps the shark worse than Fawns did, dude. It's jumping the shark like a motherfucker. So that's kind of what the vibes I'm getting. Now I'm looking up reviews for Dia Dark and to see if it's like got better reviews. I don't know the reviews on the other one, but... well, okay, here we go. We got a Spurg, dude. We got the Reddit. Let's see what the Reddit has to say about it. Let me hear all y'all's theories. Oh, they're gonna make out with each other's like genitals here. Now available. I mean, damn, bro, that looks sick, dude. Okay. View spoilers. Whoa. Reddit be scary. Okay, here we go. Just curious, Dia Dark's worth the read, and if it's connected to Dorohedoro similar. It's pretty similar, a bit more lighthearted though. It reminds me a lot of Adventure Time. What the fuck? It's definitely worth the read. Still supernatural, but more sci-fi surgery this time. Also, I feel like the comedy is cranked up more in Dia Dark, which I love because whatever, has a direct connection to my... Okay, you're being fucking cringe. There is enough chapters out now for to enjoy a good stretch. I'm kind of a crazy, lazy reader. Artwork is good. Sometimes for me, the characters could look more distinct, but it's cool. It is connected to Dorohedoro even more than you think. Okay. But is it better, though? I'm not really seeing if it's better or not. I'm just kind of saying that. It's like interesting. Oh, dude, those look sick as fuck though. That looks sick, bro. Look at this guy cooking. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really seeing like a definitive answer. It just seems like a more funny, a lighthearted version, which maybe because of the joking nature of it, like when you come to more jokey shit, I'm not really worried about the plot as much. So maybe that's why she went with more of a jokey tone.
I feel torn. I feel so torn because it's so good and I feel like everybody should look at it, read it, but I just don't know. I kind of feel like it's worth the read, and if you end up not finishing it, I feel like that's the way the ship's gonna sail. That is my take. Do I recommend it? Yeah, but if you never finish it, I sure as hell do not blame you. But if you don't finish it, you're gonna miss out on some really cool moments. But you're not really missing anything from the plot. There's no interesting parallels.
I've never seen something that this is so wishy-washy, bro. I've been here with stuff too. I've literally been here in this guy's position where I was like, yeah, dude, I had so much fun with it, but I don't know like how to recommend it other than saying that it's fine. It's fine. It does the job. I think it had its moments, but I'm not like jizzing my tube socks about it. You know what I mean?
Between the humans and the sorcerers, nothing like that. Basically, humans good, sorcerers bad. Sometimes humans can be bad, and sometimes sorcerers can be good. So in conclusion, this is a peak manga that just ends up not being a peak manga. But if you still think it's peak, that's fair because there's still good things that happen throughout the story. It just falls off so bad. Now, with all that being said, I don't have anything else to say.
I think maybe she got bored of writing it. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting, is it really had a point, and then she killed off that antagonist, couldn't figure out a new point, and just kind of moved on. But, I mean, that's Dorohedoro. I mean, like I said, the art style of the anime, like the CGI anime thing, wasn't really for me. I tried to watch a couple of episodes a few different times, and I just kept, like, falling off of it. So it was one that I've been interested on, and the fact that I just found out that it's kind of like mid, but good, but mid, I don't know. It doesn't seem like that worth my time, but who knows? Maybe I'll get into it. But that's all I got for this one, guys. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.